Welcome to episode 15 of the Shack series. On this episode, we have Anthony Cook coming on. Anthony is one of the founders of Valet Sports. We dive deep into the brand that he's built up today to become so successful and what he's got planned for future. So stick around.
Jacob.
How are you? Can you hear me all good?
All good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. What have you been up to this morning?
Bit of everything. As always, we've just packing orders, bit of design.
Yeah.
Bit of thinking about the weekend.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, nice. Same here. Thanks so much for jumping on our little series that we've got going. It's a pleasure to have you, and yeah, can't wait to dive deep into yourself, your brand Volare Sports, and a little bit about your rowing career as well.
Yeah, no, sounds good. Having read some of, watched some of the vids you've done. Obviously running pretty low. We've gone from major celebrities, Jacob, to brands.
Oh, don't downplay yourself like that.
All good.
Yeah, sweet. No, thanks again for coming on. It's a real pleasure, and yeah, we're very fortunate to have a lot of people willing to do this for us. So yeah, thank you again from behalf of me and the Swimwear Shack.
Absolutely. No, as I say, you've had some amazing coaches and athletes so far. So it's been a great series.
Yeah, and to many more, hopefully. So give us a background, a bit about yourself. So you personally, you as an athlete, and also the Valet Sports brand and how you built it up.
Yeah, I guess from an athlete perspective, it's a long time ago now, but after school, rode for Australia for a few years, and didn't quite get to where I wanted to go, which is probably the case for most people. But from the transitioning point of view, like any athlete, you're sort of 26 to 30 hours a week, putting in the hard yards, and just realised that all the lessons that I probably should have listened to from good coaches, goal setting, etc., were completely applicable to business. But again, you finish sport and you have to do an apprenticeship and start at the bottom. And so for me, after rowing, I was lucky enough to have a scholarship at Bond University for sports, and finished that, and went on to work in apparel for some sporting companies, and then after sort of working my way through marketing roles, marketing managers, general manager, decided that it was time to have a crack on the other side, which at the time, which is I'm sure the case for any business owner, they think you're going to earn more, going to have lots of time, and it was completely the opposite. And originally, the first business we're involved with was distribution, Jacob. So really some pretty well-known brands, which I probably won't mention because they're competitors. But we had a pretty good track record of building brands in Australia and New Zealand, and overseas from zero to and things change in relationships as you go along. You kind of wonder, is this the best cause? So I think when we threw or walked away from those businesses, people would have thought we were pretty mad to start from scratch, and certainly there was a few people like Aaron who I guess gave us the time to sit down and listen to the pitch, and luckily it was a good pitch, and we're talking to you now.
Yeah. How did you come up with the name Valet Sports? Like, was that the only name, or did you have a few other names in the mix that it could have been?
Yeah, it was a funny one. There's a couple of really good books around, but yeah, well, I think it's the guys from Mambo that actually have a quote in their book. I think it's like The Life According to Mambo or something like that. But it's a great book, and they say something like, "We decided on Mambo because all the other names were already taken," and it is a little bit like that. We started. Always thinking that we wanted to be an international brand, not a local brand. And the thought process was, why couldn't an Australian brand make it? Why are we buying all these overseas brands and importing them? So yeah, we started, as you say, with the big whiteboard, wrote down a whole lot of names, and then you get into the legal side, which is making sure you've got IP and trademarks and things like that. And there's a lot of good names that were very Australian that we really liked, and but they were already registered and things like that. So Volare, which is really Italian, which is Volare, which means in Italian to fly. And from a sporting point of view, it was literally kind of just heard numerous times, did you see Jacob in the pool today? He flew. And it was like as simple as that. It was like,
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So
Yeah, very relatable.
Yeah, so the same on the bike or anything like that. So that's how it came about, and so it's an Aussie brand with an Italian name, and we have some very funny phone conversations at times with because we are selling in Japan and Dubai and Europe, where people are like, no, my mate's from the UK and it's a European brand, and it's like, okay, whatever. If you as long as you're happy with the product, doesn't matter. No. So yeah, there's I think people are sometimes surprised that it's a Gold Coast based brand. Yeah.
Yeah, even better reason to shop Valet, supporting local, and yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
So how did you get into? So the brand does mostly, I would say, triathlete kind of products.
Yeah.
How does a rower get into triathlon products?
It's a bit of a long story, but yeah, essentially, yeah, quite a few years ago, Matty Rogers, the footballer, and myself, and some other friends started doing a few triathlons for fun. So we were competing and did the usual sprint, Olympic, half Ironman, that kind of thing. So we're kind of dabbling, and we're I would say atypical of the average athlete that's out there. The core age group is in that sort of 35 to 55. So that was kind of us, and we're jack of all trades, can swim okay, ride okay, run okay. So we had a base, and it was when we were doing the distribution that one of the big brands approached us and said, "Do you want to distribute our products in Australia and New Zealand?" And at the time, we were like, "No, that's not our thing." Obviously, we hadn't started Volare at that stage, and and then we thought about it, and I went to school with an Olympic triathlete, and another friend owned one of the event companies, and started thinking from a sport point of view that actually I did know a lot of people in it, and we were doing it, and we probably understood it better from being an age grouper in terms of the cost of participating. And a whole pile of things like that. So that's probably how we got into triathlon. But originally, I guess from a family point of view, we actually owned wetsuit factories in surf. So grew up cutting neoprene and putting labels on, any of the jobs that no one wants to do. And when you're a 14, 15-year-old kid, you get a. So I'd grown up with probably the advantage of understanding neoprene and sewing and gluing and all of that. And it's like, let's dive in, let's have a go.
Yeah. Well, just going on your rowing career. So give us a little bit of a background on your rowing career. And I understand now that you're coaching rowing and your daughter actually rows herself. Do you give her tips and stuff as well?
I think it's, I try, but no, she has her own coach, which is probably good for family relationships. It's nice. Like Liv, my daughter's rode for Queensland, and I rode for Queensland, so that's pretty cool. I think she could go through my rowing career and say, like, all the critical decisions that I should have made with hindsight. From uni scholarships to coaching and all the rest of it, and so it's nice for her to kind of look at things and have a bit of perspective, but at the same time, she's her own person and makes all her own mistakes. No, she's going good. And for me, I started pretty late rowing. Started in year 11 at school, and then rowed it in the first aid at school, and then while I was at school, somehow got myself to the biggest regatta in the world, which is Henley Royal Regatta, and qualified in the single for the Diamond Sculls, which is not something school kids normally do, qualified and got through to the quarterfinals and got completely annihilated by the Olympic gold medalist, and came home and thought, might have a crack at this. With rowing, there's lightweight rowing and heavyweight rowing and sweep and sculling. And I kind of did both, but was mainly known as a sculler, so with 2 oars rather than 1, and rowed in the lightweight double for Australia. So did that for a little bit, and then actually got chronic fatigue and stopped rowing. So again, some good lessons, but it's been good. I look back on it, and it would have been nice to have gone to the Olympics, but didn't quite happen.
Yeah. Well, if you could go back and fix anything about your rowing career or change, what would it be?
I think coaching now both boys and girls, two different schools, and I think the big one is guys, and I'm sure I was the same, and maybe you're the same, Jacob, but sometimes we're all about muscling and just going for it, and you really notice from particularly coaching the girls that finesse and technically getting it right, whereas I think as a guy you think sometimes if I train more or I lift more or and basically it's like, hey, if you just get the fundamentals right, whether that's swimming or rowing or anything, and you do the drills and you make the most of what you got, you're going to be fast. And I think I think that's true in anything in life. Sometimes less really is more, and if you don't learn that lesson, you'll definitely put yourself in a hole, and you'll eventually go slower, not faster. So I think that's a hard thing to learn, that in an off season, or maybe everyone's got that something their coach has been talking about. Really hone in on that, because sometimes the most gifted athlete isn't the one that wins.
Yeah, well, exactly. Is that how you develop your chronic fatigue? Like just
Yeah,
overworking?
yeah. It's yeah. My coach went back to Germany, and it was sort of just, yeah, it was a little bit short for Atlanta, and then thought, I know the answer. It's just train more, and
Yeah.
so we started riding a lot and doing a lot of things, and yeah, I think just buried myself with too much training, and yeah, so yeah, for me it was you know, rowing is not something you do to get wealthy. There is no prize check. There's a couple of rowers that have done all right in life, but it's a rarity. You know, it's not golf, it's not tennis,
Yeah.
and yeah, I was at uni actually with Daniel Kowalski and some of the swimmers around the Atlanta time, and you know, they work extremely hard, but they were definitely you know, tip top and
Yeah.
Telstra
Rewarded
Dolphins,
well. Yeah.
Telstra Dolphins at the time, and that, you know, they were getting loan cars or whatever. We were definitely not getting that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
For physical activity now, given your brand is a
Yeah.
predominantly brand, do you do a lot of triathlons, or do you get back into rowing, or what do you do? Like, what's your fitness
Uh,
regimen?
yeah, it's funny. Like I've done about, yeah, we normally try and pick a couple of things a year. So we've done, I've done, I think, 4 half Ironmans now. And yeah, there's definitely faster people than me. You know, we have some Olympians who work here, you know, who are swim specialists, and we've got some talented athletes. Yeah, for me, if I think I normally go around just a little bit under 5, and that's a good day out, because I don't. While I absolutely love it, I got three kids who you know, are doing their thing, and work. So for me, you know, not going to invest more than, you know, 8 hours, 10 hours a week max for an event. But yeah, so we've done. I've done 4 half Ironmans, and yeah, and a couple of marathons. So
Yeah.
normally do, yeah, one or the other every year.
And your kids, do they all row, or do you think they'll all get into rowing eventually, or what other sports?
No, no. Yeah, they're not. They've all rowed. So Liv's, you know, she really likes it, and she was a pretty high level gymnast, and then got a bit too big and has swapped to rowing. And Jess, yeah, is only in grade 9, and she's just started. And Ben is in year 12 and rowed. But yeah, he's more into esports
Yeah.
than getting out. But yeah, sometimes too. You know, like every you know, every week, Ben and I'll just go for a run together. And I think you know, sometimes we forget that yeah, exercise is just so good from a mental point of view, and you should do what you like with people that you know that you appreciate and value. You don't have to go to the pool and do your fastest 1,000 meters every time, or what you know, it's not how it is. So yeah, like last time we did the marathon, yeah, we just ran with a friend of mine, and it was awesome. You know, the training was loved the event, but the training actually I enjoyed. Whereas I'm sure, as you know, with swimming, when it's competitive, you know, every moment counts, and you're always thinking about it. Whereas for me, at the moment, business is definitely and making the best products we can is the goal. So getting outside, whether it's on the bike or running or swimming or rowing, which we definitely do all of those things every week. You know, that's an escape, and it's just so enjoyable just to be out there.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm looking forward to in retirement is being able to go to the pool, go in the ocean, and not have to absolutely murder myself. So was that one thing that you looked forward to when you finished up your rowing career? Was it, being able to actually enjoy exercise rather than get killed by your coach?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there's literally maybe 6 or 7 years uh, where I never, refused to go in a boat, and then got into actually surf lifesaving with ski paddling with a where I trained. We'd always see the I guess the AIS for kayaking's on the Gold Coast, and we'd always bump into those guys. So hooked up with a guy called Julian Norton Smith, who was a good paddler, and he does coaching, and signed up for that. And so got into the ski, which was great. And you're back on the water, kind of paddling, except for you going forwards. And it's fun, and I like that. And maybe it's because you finish up, and I'm sure people are, hey, there's Jake, and they're kind of critiquing you. It's like, man, technique disappears pretty quickly.
Yeah, in the COVID period, I was came back looking rough. I mean, physically, but also like my stroke, just fell apart, and it's just like,
yeah,
how this just falls apart so quickly. I've done this for like 15 years, and it goes within a few months.
I know. But I think with swimming and rowing, I think that really enjoy swimming because it's a little bit like rowing. I'm sure there is a perfect stroke, but you're always in search. Can always be better.
Definitely.
So it's that elusive perfect race, perfect stroke, and when you find it, it's magic.
Yeah, and for high performance athletes as well, you always finish a race thinking, if I just did that, it could have been so much better. Or if I did this, or what if I did this yesterday?
Exactly. I mean, I don't know how many races you've personally done where you didn't have anything left, and you touch the wall, but maybe the next day or a week later, you're like, I should have really done a move, or done this. It's like, yeah. So
how did the Valet Sports idea come up? So was it like a collective kind of idea with your business partners? And I know you touched before,
no,
like
the starting point, the starting point wasn't. It was literally we were looking at triathlon and open water wetsuits, and we were distributing a brand, and we've done really well and build up a solid following, and then things started changing a little bit, where we'd help build this business, and prices started moving, and the story that we'd been pitched just started changing. So we were kind of like, if we're doing the marketing, and we're handling the warranties, and we're looking after the team, and actually Sam Benton, who you interviewed, was one of those athletes. Things just changed along the line, and then we started really thinking about it. As I said, my family, we're in wetsuits, and so actually had probably a better idea than a lot of the people in the business on construction and fabrics, and and it became, again, going back to the age grouper, like why would an age grouper buy a wetsuit for $1,000? And you're listening to the sales pitch, and it's like, well, to start with, there's no brand that physically owns a wetsuit factory. When you roll through the big names, and they're all pretty much, everyone's kind of dialed into the fact that Yamamoto neoprene is the best. So no one's making a raw material. So basically, you know, the light bulb moment was like, well, if no one actually is making the product and no one's actually making the raw materials, then it comes down to the design, the patterns, obviously what you choose to put into the garment from a construction point of view. And there's lots of things, you know, liner, lots of different points there. But really, you know, marketing, etc. So it was like, well, we picked a couple of kind of price points that we thought would change the market a little bit, and you know, went through the motion. But like any business idea, I think naivety sometimes is a really good thing. You know, again, you know, every kid at school wants to go to the Olympics. So, you know, everyone wants to have you know, be a millionaire or be successful or whatever. And it's easy to say those things, but the reality is, you know, you're not going to be a successful athlete without putting in a lot of effort, having great people around you, and a little bit of luck sometimes helps as well.
Yeah.
And in business, I think it's the same. You know, you put your idea on the board, and then it's like, whoa, you know, to do a really good job of wetsuits is not a cheap venture. You know, we're not jumping on a Chinese sourcing site and putting our name on something. We're you know, physically designing a garment. We've got great local talent, and you know, we're testing on athletes and using flumes and doing all the things that the big guys do on the tightest budget we can manage. And putting out, I think, you know, every year better product, and part of that comes down to you know, listening to people like yourself and Aaron, and going to events. You know, there's a few brands out there, but you know, we physically go to the events and you know, sell the product and talk to the consumer, and we still pick up the phone. You know, we're very, I think, more dialed into the consumer and to the needs of the athletes than some of the big companies that there's no way the CEO is answering the telephone and doing the design, and you know, and maybe that's a little bit of small business too, but I think it's a strong asset, and you know, something that we wouldn't want to lose. And then you know, like sport, Jacob, you obviously, if you're smart, you know what your strengths are, and your coach tells you what events or distances are going to be best for you. And I think in business, you know, that's important to work out what your strong points are. And if you're smart, you'll either bring in partners or employ people who are better at those jobs than you. And you know, that's not about, you know, criticizing people. That's just about getting talent, and so that you can deliver on that goal that you set. And so for me, brought on Greg, and Greg's done a couple of Iron Men events. He's actually an ex-rower as well, and his wife's a swim coach, and he's really good numbers guy, and that's really handy. And then we've got we brought in an investor to come into the business after that, Rod, and he's an ex-rugby player, and he brings you know, new skill sets, so you know, help launch the brand in Europe and things like that. So yeah, so and then it's so that's kind of where we are now. There's three partners in the business, and yeah, as you're probably aware, we've launched swim goggles and various new lines, and then yeah, the next 12 months looks pretty interesting in terms of product releases and where we're going,
Yeah.
which is exciting.
What's been the biggest struggle about the business? So obviously it's very, very hard to get the perfect wetsuit right.
Yeah.
What's been a struggle about the business or about certain products that you've tested?
I think from a product point of view, you're right. You know, sizing is the holy grail, isn't it? You know, if someone walks into the shop, and whether it's swimwear, goggles, wetsuits, you know, the interesting thing about people is that they're all different, and that makes life exciting. And you know, likewise, we're all different body shapes, and in COVID, shapes, well, definitely mine,
Yeah.
has changed. So yeah, you know, a one size you know approach is obviously not a realistic. We've done some things, you know, like in our suits, you know, actually probably haven't told Aaron, but the new V1s that we've just delivered, you know, like a high end suit. They've got seam tape in the leg and the arm, so you can actually cut them down 5 centimeters if you've got yeah, short arms. If you've got long levers, they've got great seals. So sizing and yeah, sizing I think is something we'll, you know, I don't think we'll ever be finished with. You know, yeah, it's yeah, customization, and there's a number of things, body scans and all sorts of things that I think will eventuate over the next couple of years. But for now, it's just about tweaking and making the sizes and the patterns as good as we can based on the feedback we get. And yeah, and people are happy to give you feedback if you listen, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually what's been very, very popular here, that was actually one feature that I don't even think I brought this up to Aaron, but I thought about it ages ago, was like with the V1s having the like the seamed like around the arms and the ankles,
Yeah.
and the fact that you can cut it back like will make a massive difference. And as well the V1 colors that you've got, so the brand new colors in like
Yeah.
the greeny and the ocean blue, and
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, they've been so popular.
Yeah, yeah, it's a hard one because yeah, again, you're right, things down, and if you and I were sitting in the room and we're like, let's make, you know, a new wetsuit, and you're like, oh, you know, visibility in the water and speed, and you write all these things down, and then yeah, obviously we made a very bright yellow wetsuit. You can definitely spot it at in any race. Yeah, and obviously from a training point of view, it means, you know, you're not going to be hit by a surfer or someone in a boat or a kayak, or they can physically see you, which is great. And then you've got the other school of thought, which is, you know, which we got a lot, which was people saying that's fine. I understand the safety element, but I might not be so confident on the beach, and I actually don't want to be really visible getting into the water. And we've always been a Gold Coast company, been coming at it from a kind of a fusion of surf and triathlon. And our designers, you know, ex Quicksilver, ex Billabong, and he was like, yeah, let's do this. So yeah, so we put that out. Yeah, literally like 4 weeks ago or something,
Yeah.
and it's been really popular. But it's interesting, like Phil Clayton, who has been great and kind of championed the brand a lot, is, you know, very adamant, you know, yellow and being visible, and is a good thing. But hey, there's both there's both options, and again, choice is a good thing, isn't it? More options, and so I think that's something we'll do more of as well.
Yeah, definitely. What have you got in store for in future for Valet? Obviously, not giving away too many secrets. Do you have anything that you can mention to our audience on what's coming up for Valet?
So probably we've got a lot actually. And that was one of the reasons we took on some partners so that we could have more expertise and fund more projects. And so we've got the new V2 coming out, V3 sold out like immediately, the new V3. So a few little tweaks on that. So that'll be out as well. Probably swim runs, the big one that we've been working on for. We're probably not the fastest company because we like to, we can't afford to get things wrong, Jacob. We're not a multinational company, so we need to know that things work, and that they've done the hours and testing, and so we'll always guinea pig and do things, and occasionally I'll not maybe think about it, and I'll put a photo up on Instagram and people will be like, oh my God, I saw a swim run suit. And it's like, so swim run will be a good one. We've got some really good ideas there in regard to buoyancy and how to do things. Got a really cool new waterproof bag range that'll be released next week or the week after.
Yep.
Which is samples sort of sitting here.
Yeah.
And you can just add your badges or athlete or swimmer or whatever. And these are all totally waterproof. They take hydration bladders. So that'll be pretty exciting. We supply BCF and some of the big retailers with adventure gear and stuff like that. While I guess we're known as a triathlon brand, we're probably more, if it's on the water or in the water, that's sort of what we're really dialed into. So we do rowing, we do a pile of stuff that people aren't probably aware of, because the triathlon and wetsuits is certainly the flag that we're waving the hardest.
It's hard to dip into different markets when your triathlon range is so successful.
And I think what you find is when you talk to most people, you're obviously a swimmer, but I bet you've been to the gym.
Yep.
I bet you've been for a run. And then normally everyone will have some sort of activity on the side that gets them away from maybe swimming, and that might be reading, it might be surfing, it might be fishing, or something like that. So it's funny, when we started, it was like wetsuit, and then we did waterproof phone cases, which and you're like, whoa, that's a huge tangent. And then it's like, well, actually you can put your car keys in there, throw them, you take them with you when you're swimming, and and so one thing kind of leads to the next. And the same with waterproof backpacks. They're obviously waterproof, but you get a wetsuit, and when we go for a swim, we just pile the wetsuits into a waterproof duffel or a backpack or one of the dry tubes, and cars dry, and no, keep the sand and stuff away. So I think things can be used in a whole different pile of applications, but yeah, we sometimes like to think that if whether a swimmer or a rower or riding or something, that we're the only people that use a certain product, and a lot of the products are used in a whole multitude of different sports.
Yeah. What's the most popular product at Volare? Is it the V1 wetsuit?
I think it's a really hard one to say. In terms of the V1 range and the new colors and stuff, I think it'd be, the highest selling wetsuit probably in the country at the moment. And that's about what we talked about before. It's Yamamoto. It's good quality. We work a very direct model, as you know. We're the brand, and then we supply the retailer. So the consumer, when they walk into the Swim Shack, is not paying for a distributor and like all these different steps, and people like that. And if they've got a problem, they can pick up the phone. And so I think the value proposition is strong with that suit, and hopefully people like the design and stuff. So it costs realistically less than some tri suits, or swimsuits. So it's a really good product. The V3 has been just overwhelming. We just can't make enough suits at the moment. So that's a good problem to have. But in terms of biggest products, the range is quite large. So we supply again some of the big retailers with non-triathlon related products, which on units would be higher. But definitely, I think this is the first year that we could probably say that legitimately we've probably got the number one suit in the market, which is nice.
Yeah, and also your new Volare Noosa goggles too. They're probably
I
reckon they're close to one of the most popular goggles that we sell here in the shop.
I think and I mean you're probably the person to talk to on goggles, but we really tried to come up with, and we'll launch another 2 goggles hopefully before the end of the year. But we're aimed at open water goggles, and then which the Noosa definitely ticks the bill. Really good pricing, really good quality, great lenses, and then the traditional socket goggle we've got with the Kira, which gives some universal, you can change the nose piece. We color coded them so people can know if it's their favorite goggle that they've got, their training goggle. You can have a pink nose piece or a yellow nose piece to identify that, or from your brother or your sister or your dad or whatever. So little ideas that I think people have really embraced, and goggles have definitely been turning into probably one of the most successful products. And then obviously we added, which is for Queensland bad timing probably, but the new neoprene swim caps that are fully adjustable, and people have loved them. Especially in like Victoria and Tassie, and traditional neoprene skull caps. From a design point of view, obviously price has been a driver, but no adjustability. So you kind of get strangled under your neck. And I'll just grab something else to show you.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm sort of sitting in the sampling room, so it's kind of convenient. Like we also did like a skull, a skull cap. So we did lots of different designs, with the idea of what's the best cap. But we put it out to a whole pile of people And sometimes on Instagram, we'll just ask, what design do people like? I mean, there could be like a whole pile of competitors who are like, pick this design because it's bad. But we like to ask for opinions, and so we ditched one of the designs that we'd done, which was the skull cap, and went for just adjustability.
Yeah.
And there's so cold water swimming's I think we're blessed in Brisbane and the Gold Coast, and in Queensland in general. But having lived in Melbourne for 10 years, the bay is definitely cold, and New Zealand's cold, and so sometimes you need these things.
Yeah, well, in my COVID break, I did trial going out in the water, and you don't think of the caps at the time, but like, you just got your wetsuit and you put it on and you're like, yeah, I'll be sweet. And then you get in and it's like your head's about to burst.
Oh, exactly. The old ice cream headache. And you can do some pretty significant damage, like if you swim long enough, ears and things like that, cold water syndrome. And so they do make a difference. And I guess in really big surf as well, like my brother, when we were kind of body bashing in big waves, burst his eardrum. So, having they do provide a little bit of protection for those sorts of things too. But obviously, keeping you warm is key. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a personal favorite product of Valet Sports, or?
Definitely. From a just going full circle, with the brand from an idea. We did the Sunny Coast half Ironman, and putting on a V3 wetsuit and competing, and doing, wearing your own tri-suit, and something that you've been involved and sourced the neoprenes and been to the factories. That was pretty cool. So for me, the V3 is just if it can make me swim a few minutes faster, then that's a good thing. And we have like significant incentive to make faster products, because we've got to make up some time on the swim.
Yeah. Coming up with new unique products, is there something that you've had kind of in the works and developed this idea, and then it just, wasn't possible for whatever reason? Could be like timing or just getting the right material. Was there anything that Volare has struggled to get?
We've got one on with Swim Run, where we've got we think just an amazing idea, and at the moment just can't quite get the technology to make it to work, and so you have to have to come up with another way of doing it, which I think we've achieved. So I think there's that old story with, I don't even know if it's true, but the race for the moon with the Russians and the US, and they talk about they needed a pen to write upside down, and the Americans spent 20 million US on a pressurized pen, and the Russians used a pencil. So
I've heard that story too, so I mean, it must be true.
Yeah, so let's say it's true, and I think that's true of most things. There's never one way of doing things. So we've got some ideas around buoyancy and how to change things a little bit, and there's there might have to be an evolution of how we do it.
Yeah.
Very different if you're just making it for yourself, and it's
sure.
for the Olympics, and it's for 2 swims. But the reality of someone who's opening their wallet, they expect wetsuits not just to be fast, but they expect to get a few seasons out of them. They're
Yeah.
not a throwaway item. Yeah.
Did you have previous businesses to Valet, and if so, did that help you shape the brand and lean it towards becoming really, really successful?
Yeah, I worked for some, I guess, sporting brands, and yeah, have a pretty, interesting background. So yeah, I was managing a company that, I guess distributed Sector 9 skateboards and Burton snowboards and things like that. So I have a pretty diverse, as well as surf and things like that. So from a marketing perspective, yeah, I think, triathlon, we try and come at it from a little bit of a different angle, that kind of fusion of surf, and we're really proud to be Australian, and we think that that's an asset. From a business point of view, yeah, the business that we had for 10 years, or I had before, was distributing other people's brands. And so we had the retail contacts, with the most prestigious swim shops like Swim Shack.
Yeah.
So we had that, and yeah, and as I said, had grown up with wetsuits, actually manufacturing wetsuits with legitimately owned factory, and people sewing, and high frequency welding and all of those things. So yeah, we'd seen the market change a lot from a kid to being in the position we're in now, where a lot of stuff is outsourced, be it from a technology point of view through to manufacturing. And you certainly wouldn't have been doing an interview like this without being face to face. So things have changed a lot, but yeah, primarily I think we're our own brand, and brands develop their own cultures and feel. And I think the main thing that I probably learned from having a few bad experiences as a distributor is number one is without the relationships are always going to come first. The relationship you have with your staff, or with the they're not a retailer. They're an essential part of your brand. That they buy into the best accounts, or the best sales will always be from the people that like the brand, and they like the people. Life's pretty short. I don't know why you'd be in business with people you don't like. Yeah, that's kind of our ethos, and I think in most cases, if you talk to whether it was our athletes we've worked with, or and some of them have got checks from other brands to jump ship, and we're still good friends with them. That's mainly a commercial decision. It's maybe nothing to do with the product. They're just trying to do their thing. But for us, everyone that I can think of that started on the journey with us is still on the journey. Aaron's probably said, but it's the first retailer to jump on board, and now we've got retailers all over the world. So every journey starts with a step, but you got to look after people along the way, otherwise it'll fall apart for sure.
Yeah. What's the best thing, or your favorite thing about the business? Is it the fact that you've created something just so good, and when you see it on someone else, you're just like, wow, that's my brand, like I helped create that?
Yeah, I think it's certainly it's a nice feeling when you wake up in the morning, and you got some ideas, and come in, grab a coffee, and Greg and I'll talk about what we're up to, and what we're thinking. And I enjoy the people I work with, and really we're lucky to have the opportunity to have those ideas and bounce them off people. I probably ring some people like Aaron too much and say, like, got this idea, what do you think? And and then 2 years later, this is what we talked about. So I do love that. And with COVID, the travel side has obviously stopped. So we launched the product in Europe last year in November. That was really exciting, and been working with Austrade and I guess the various government bodies to help build an Aussie brand, which is awesome. And and that's all stopped. So I really enjoyed the travel and meeting the people we work with and kind of selling the brand for sure. But they're buying into Australia and the Gold Coast and the lifestyle, and as a swimmer or a triathlete or a rower, you automatically identify with people because if we go to Japan, our distributor there is doing exactly what we're doing. He's running a business and swimming and running and riding and probably not racing as well as he could because he's working, and so you have that instant connection and that sport, and that's what's amazing about it. So for me, the most exciting thing, or the thing I like about the business the most is the people and for sure creating and working on making better product at a better value than other people do, So it'll definitely be interesting to see how COVID plays out. It's going to change the landscape a lot, and some of those things that we all enjoy doing, like traveling and racing, just aren't there at the moment.
Yeah. Is there a brand that you would consider collaborating with Valet, or is there like a little twist that you'd put on a certain range of products, or has any idea come up about that?
I think I think collaboration, with people or brands, we're definitely open to those ideas. It's always a hard one, there's some really good Aussie brand stories where people have collaborated with various platforms, and it's been a success, be it Strava or whatever. And those are definitely, you have to assess each one and say, do your values line up, and are you selling out, or how does it fit? But we're open to those things. But for us at the moment, we're busy doing what we're doing, and we're firmly planted around the water, either in it or on it, or and it'd have to fit in with those dimensions. I don't think I don't think we're going to be making Coke cans or stubby coolers or something.
Yeah, get your neoprene stubby coolers, Valet.
Yeah, exactly. But it's an interesting question.
Yeah, I asked the same to Don McCready from DMC.
Yeah.
He had a good one. He actually had one in the works, but it was stopped due to COVID, unfortunately. But that would have been pretty cool.
Absolutely.
What advice would you give someone wanting to start their own brand?
I would say don't is probably no. Yeah, I think you got to assess what you're trying to do. You know, there's a lot of for us, we had a firm plan that we wanted to be an international brand. Yeah, so to me, you know, every brand story, you know, read Shoe Dog or any of the great books, and you know, we're nothing like them because they're super Nike's a pretty big brand, but
Hey, you're on your way. So.
we're on our way. But you know, he was essentially a distributor, and that was the same as us, and then it's actually kind of similar. And then, you know, they didn't, that they were changing the deal and appointing different distributors around him, and that's exactly what happened to us. And he said, you know, enough's enough, and they went to the shoe show with a new product, which is Nike as we know it, and we were like that. And I think for, you know, for us, we picked the highest barrier products. Like, so, you know, we picked an $850 wetsuit because it takes some skill to do it. You're automatically going up against and being judged against all the big brands on their best suits. And we spent a lot of time with QAS athletes and in the flume and doing stuff, and we had the full knowledge that the suit that we put out, you know, you can argue whether it's faster or not, but categorically it was as fast as anything anyone else had done. So you have that confidence, and then, you know, it's made from the same materials in terms of, you know, Yamamoto, and then obviously you're choosing the specifications, be it, you know, Aerodome or 40 or whatever you're going to use. So we were confident about that. Yeah, other people were not confident. You know, lots of brands had entered and gone, you know, come and gone. And I think the danger for people wanting to do their own thing is that, you know, they're choosing like products like socks or cycling clothing, or, you know, yeah, things like that, or a bag or something. And it's like, there's no competitive advantage. You probably didn't design it. And when you go to, you know, a big retailer, if you didn't design it and you just put a logo on it and you haven't added any value, they can just do that themselves and they can cut you out. So I think people fail to really think through. It's not about selling it to your mate who goes, yeah, I really needed a pair of socks. Wow, they're $20 at such and such. You're going to sell them for 10 and you bought them for 5, or, you know, like, got to sell a lot of socks at $5 to it's possible, but so yeah, I think that's the thing, that you know, scaling up, as they say. You know, every entrepreneur says they started in their garage, and you know, there's certainly competitors that we have that, you know, so they started in a garage, and but if you've got a job and it's a side project, it's going to be pretty hard, I think, to make it. I think that's like being a swimmer and also having a each way bet that, you know, that maybe you could make the hurdling team, and also being at uni and also having a part-time job. It's like, you know, we don't have a plan B. We just have plan A, and plan A is to make the best gear in the world, and hopefully people see that and buy it. So I think, you know, my advice would be make sure it's sustainable and scalable, and that there's a point of difference in a market. You know, I think so many, I don't know how many Noosa triathlons I've been to, and, you know, someone's doing another tri suit. It's like, well, if you're just competing on price, it's a race to the bottom. You know, the V1, as you pointed out, is a very good value suit, it's, also Yamamoto 39, and it's, got it's got a whole pile of features that sure someone could make a suit for the same price. But I don't think it would be better, you have to be confident in what you're delivering. So, so I think that's it. If you're going to do something, make it your plan A, and put a plan around it, and give yourself a period of time, and and have probably like a renovation or something, have 10 times as much money as you think you're going to need, because it's not going to happen overnight.
So the Yamamoto neoprene on the wetsuit. So was this in discussion based on price? Because you quite easily could have put the price up so much more, because the quality is obviously so much higher. Has that always been in discussion, or you were just like, no, like, we're going to set this at this price because this is what we believe in, although it's better quality, it's a lower price? Was that
no, our model was our model was definitely a case of we don't have a distributor, and so we need, like any brand, we have to make money, or we won't be here. So and we put a lot of effort and time into it, but we only put like the Noosa goggle or the V1, we put what we think is a fair margin on, and the key thing is, if we can't hit the quality level and the price point that we want, then we won't do it. It's, what is the advantage? What are we actually out there? We're not about while we'd love to offer all the products that that you need for a triathlon. If we can't do it better, and we try and look at every product. If we can't do it better, then we're not going to do it. So we could have put the price up, but I think I think people will see why we've done things the way we've done them when we launch the new V2 and new V3. We're not a discount brand. We're delivering high value products. So I think people have just got to understand that when they're comparing it to maybe some suits from overseas, that if there's a brand, a distributor, an importer, a retailer, and then you're at the end of the chain, things are going to be expensive. We don't do that. It's just like from whether that's in Europe or the US or Japan, it's just from us to the retailer. That's it. Therefore the price you're getting, is really affordable. I was just going to say, Jacob, and in that too, and by doing that, ultimately we make sport more accessible, on a good, better, best model. And that means that you don't need a $10,000 bike or a $1,000 wetsuit, and so on to enter a race and get in there. And, and you don't need to win the race to have achieved something and got something out of the sport. That's, I think, as you go through, if you're talking about the Olympics and it's, going to come down to hundredths of a second, then we have some products and they're going to cost a lot of money. But, the person who, 1 second or 100th or whatever it is, it's going to mean everything for them. Whereas for the general person, actually going out and training more and getting a coach is probably going to be a better value proposition.
Yeah, well, definitely. Yeah, well, when you put it like that, I mean, it makes sense. So in the next, let's say 5 to 10 years, does Valet Sport have the intention to push out internationally or expand more globally? We're
opening in the US in Texas, actually in Texas, from a warehousing point of view, and we open in New Zealand for the first time, I think before Christmas. So that's good. We're in Dubai, Japan, and yeah, we've got a few deals that we're working on. So yeah, we're trying to step by step, and yeah, we're working with already some pretty big, like we work with Decathlon, which is the biggest retailer in the world, sporting retailer. I think they're like 1,500 stores. So we work with some big stores, but in like key areas. So I don't think people understand, it's like they're not buying your whole range, they're buying two or three items, whereas when you go to a specialist like yourself, you're going to have access to everything in the product line. Yeah. So yeah, the international side, yeah, that was always the goal, and that's what we're working really hard on. And there's a number of challenges with that. Sizing, which you mentioned earlier. In Japan is different. Language, packaging, Spanish and Italian, and yeah, so we've got a lot of things, and we're still learning as well. So there's a lot to do, and yeah, we firmly hope that we'll grow, and that from designers to photographers to everyone we use is local. So we think that's a good thing, because and yeah, that's exciting. So that hopefully we can have increase our head count as we move forward, and bring in more specialists, that can do things better than we can at the moment, and that might be on packaging or whatever. But every point, or touch point is important to being successful.
Yeah. And so final question. Thanks so much for staying on for so long.
No, that's easy. It's pretty good because the guys are on the other side of the door working. So
that's good.
It's a Friday, so it's like.
So what is Valet Sports short-term and long-term goal? Obviously, you just mentioned, you're in the works of expansion on a global scale. Is that your long-term goal? And if not, what would it be? And yeah, what's your short-term goal?
I think the first goal is, we like having fun, and we kind of pride ourselves on keeping the big brands honest. Greg and Rod and I, we actually not normally on a Friday, Jacob, we knock off at about 4:30. And we go running, and so that's normally Greg and I will just run 5-10K and have a chat about the week and the goals and where we're at. And I think for us it's about it's definitely about trying to be global, but that's kind of like a byproduct. That's like you saying I want to be an Olympic gold medalist. It's the bit in between, isn't it? So the bit in between for us is making great products that people want and need, and that's just always exciting. Like we just love getting out and swimming in the suits. And the other day we were swimming with dry bags across creeks and jumping off cliffs and doing all that sort of stuff to see how waterproof, and that's awesome. So for us, it's do what we're doing, and just add in a few countries, but you got to walk before you run. So we're just really thankful. The big one for us has been community, and working out how to get that community, that buy into what we're selling. And what we're selling is really a lifestyle. how do we do that overseas? Especially take Japan with language barriers and all the rest of it. How do you communicate that brand message? But I think in the short term, if we expand out on what we're doing and we just keep making the best products we can make, then the rest should hopefully look after itself. But hey, happy to take another call in 5 years and hold me accountable.
Yeah, I'll be doing a follow-up one for sure. And we can take these and use them as reference for what you said.
Exactly. But I mean, how do you think the brand has evolved over the last sort of period that you've been there?
Yeah, definitely. I think although for a lot of businesses and distributors, COVID has been quite a struggle. There were a lot of people coming in wanting for wetsuits, obviously with a lot of restrictions on physical activity and, just downtime and things that they could do. Wetsuits was a really good thing for us. But yeah, expanding into, you having that new Valet Noosa goggle, which has been really, really popular. And that's exactly what people are looking for. A nice, soft, comfortable goggle made for ocean swimming, super comfortable for wearing for long periods of time. The Volare wetsuit, like as you said, there's that safety element for the fluoro yellow color that you have. But yeah, also dipping into the other section of people who are wanting entry-level suits, wetsuits for, different colors, because obviously, like they don't want to stand out, or they just want a bit of a mellow sort of a color. But yeah, for sure, it's grown and it's expanded, but with the same audience, for sure.
No, that's it's good to hear, and we'll have to maybe get you involved in testing some of the new suits and see what you say.
I'd love to. Yeah,
I'm just laughing because you'll I don't know if you can see out the door, but you'll see the boys running past with boxes. It's pretty amusing. So we've just got the delivery guys. Which is good. It'd be interesting to get your thoughts. From an elite point of view. I think that new V3. We listened and fit in the past, like a little bit of leakage and things like that. It's a fine line between where people are talking about being claustrophobic and necklines and stuff like that. And then obviously we have such a range of people. You've got people who are pool swimming, in a wetsuit, tumble turning and streamlining off the wall. You can open up the neckline, and then we've got people like Phil, whose passion is to literally body surf the biggest wave that he can find. And then you've got someone who's in the UK swimming in a lake at, that's flat. So you've got all these different environmental conditions, and you're trying to make something that ticks all those boxes. And sometimes it takes a bit of time to get it perfect.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I've spoken to separate brands in the past, and they were always mentioning how hard it was to get goggles right. Like, it's so much more than just the fit. It's also the anti-fog, or the vision, or the comfort, the straps, how you loosen and tighten, the quality. Like, there's so much that goes into it, rather than just like,
absolutely. And we're I'm actually just doing goggles at the moment, and we've got like the little case, and I've been playing around with other goggle styles and stuff like that. You go swimming, like a kid's goggle or whatever. You go have a swim, and again, it's like, we're so Aussie in our perception of things. It's like, most people have the one goggle, and it's pool, it's surf, it's triathlon, it's everything. And then you'll go to a race and people are talking about open water swim goggles, and and then you look at the pros and they're wearing socket goggles, or so everyone's different. And I think once you find that that goggle that works for you, people just it just changes their world, doesn't it? Like if they can see and they're warm, and you're generally happy, and when you're happy, you enjoy stuff. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly right. But yeah, if I have any more ideas or any new features that I put forward to Aaron, I'll let him know, and then I'll get him to pass it on to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, we've definitely done a few things. So yeah, again, I think that kind of feedback, and with reviews online, both on your website or it's so easy now. There's dealing with people. I mean, you might love a goggle and I might not like a goggle. So but in general, I think if you're listening to those reviews and that feedback that you guys are giving, then you're probably pretty silly if you don't do something.
Yeah, that's exactly right. What do you got on for the rest of the day?
So we've got a truck to load. Yeah. So I'll see where the boys are at in a second. So we've got a truck to load now, and then we've got a few design and budget stuff, and then a bit of boating and running and stuff like that. So and maybe a beer, which would be good.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. And enjoy that run this afternoon.
Exactly. And are you swimming this afternoon?
Nah, Friday afternoon off, thank God. But I'm working till close here. But it's good. And then working again tomorrow, and training in the morning, circuit in the morning. That's pretty much my weekend.
Nice. Yeah. So how many hours a week are you training?
So, depending on the session, so it'll probably be between 2.5 hour swims. So I've got 9 sessions of those a week. Dryland collectively, probably do about 4 or 5 hours, and then we've got gym on top of that, which is about 3 hours a week.
Yep.
Yeah, so plenty.
Are you tapping into the nutritionist and all the rest of it?
Yeah, like I got a lot more into that in the COVID break. Like I was reading up on a lot more different things, and just like little things, and like trialing different kind of diets, but also doing small things that I'm trialing actually right now. So like for example, using like 2 servings of logs before you have a gym session. So like to spike insulin levels and stuff like that.
What is it? Sorry, Jacob.
Like 2 servings of just like lollies.
Oh yeah.
To spike insulin levels before like gym work and stuff like that. So I'm going through that at the moment. Like when you're finishing a massive swim and then you have to go up and do gym, it makes a massive difference. You wouldn't think it does, but it makes
it. So you need to be sponsored by like Allen's or.
Oh man, I would love
that. Family pack of lollies.
Get me through my training week. Yeah, you wouldn't ever think that, because I mean, you grow up, you start from like whenever, like 8 all the way up to 20 years old, and you get told don't eat lollies and don't have chocolate and stuff because it's bad. And obviously you need to eat within moderation, but yeah, like I don't think it gets overlooked, definitely. And just like little things that you wouldn't really expect because, you get told that this is bad and you shouldn't have that. But I mean, if you use it the right way, obviously lollies after gym is a completely different story. But
totally.
Yeah, it's just the way that you use things, and just trialing. Maybe if it works for me, it's not going to work for you. It's not going to work for the other person. It might work for the other person. You never know.
Do you have to write down your food intake and everything, and like, do you have a resident like a?
No, I don't. I used to. So when I was about 16, let's call it puppy fat. I was actually fat, but
all the swimmers that I know, like Dan and all these guys, I was a lightweight rower, and they would be having ice cream, and they were like adamant, like flotation's a good thing and it tastes good. So
yeah, well, I mean, you can't be absolutely shredded out of your mind and be a really good swimmer. I mean, you need to have that. I think you need to have that little slight bit of fat for flotation. But I mean,
puppy fat.
yeah, puppy fat. Yeah, no, but I was trialing it a little bit, and I guess I'll see how it goes over the next few months. But if it turns on me, I won't be looking too good.
Oh well, I'm sure the times won't lie, so you'll have definite proof of concept.
Exactly, and skin folds have been going pretty well at the moment, so I mean that's only positive news.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, well, thanks so much for having us on, and it was interesting chat, and really appreciate you guys supporting us. It was,
well, thank you for supporting us, and thank you for coming on and taking time out of your flat out schedule there at the office. We appreciate it a lot.
No, it's awesome. No, we just, I think it's all positive. Yeah, like, Aaron's done, Aaron and the team have done such a good job with the store, and like he definitely helped give us a start and prove that what we're talking about wasn't madness, and and the rest is history. So we're really looking forward to working with you guys into the future. It's great.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we can't wait, and we can't wait for future products of Valet Sports as well.
No, it's awesome. Hey, well, have a great weekend, Jacob, and I'll work on who I know at Allen's.
Thanks, Anthony. Have a good weekend, mate.
Definitely. Thanks.
All right,
see you, Jacob.
see ya.
Bye.